cheers to episode 114.
Cheers to Andrew Catalan.
Coffee with milk in it.
Oh, I don't feel bad for drinking water.
I have strawberry lemonade. Simply lemonade. Did I buy it? No.
Who bought it? Your grandma?
Marissa.
Simply lemonade?
She bought Simply strawberry lemonade for
Mixies.
Mimosas.
Ew.
Interesting choice, I know. So she said, do you want this lemonade? I said, yeah, sure, I guess. She didn't really give me a choice. She just left it.
Guys, I'm battling it. I just accidentally clicked open Adobe Premiere on my laptop.
Is it huffing and puffing?
Oh my God. I have the rainbow wheel. I can hear you guys. I just can't see you guys right now. So it's like I'm just talking to my computer screen. I feel like a weirdo.
This is how it used to be, Grant, on the phone.
I'm back. Evan, you said you're drinking water?
Yep.
Nice.
Iced water?
I always ice water.
Slightly overrated.
Water. And a brand new Yeti that has a mysterious dent in it.
Oh.
Still unknown.
Someone clipped your car.
It could have been him clipping his own car and he doesn't know.
Did you leave your water bottle?
Wasn't there. Wouldn't know.
Did you leave your water bottle out at the grocery store and a shopping cart hit it in the parking lot?
Did that happen to you, Grant?
I left it in.
That's how dents get in cars.
I left it in front of the podcast Connor's bedroom. And last time I touched it, it was not dented. The previous day when I touched it, probably 12 hours later, and more like 10 hours later, it had a dent in it. So
was this last week?
This was this weekend.
Yep, I know what happened. Connor found out on McAfee show that Aaron Rodgers was going to the Jets, and he punched your Yeti.
It'd be a strong punch. Those
He's
Yetis
a strong guy.
Solid.
He's a strong guy. So.
Connor's a strong boy.
Also, happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday, Jason.
Not the one from Friday the 13th. I hope that guy dies.
That guy's not real,
I feel like
Grant.
Jamie Lee Curtis can never kill that guy. They've made like 5 movies.
Never seen it.
I found out today, speaking of ice water, that they say you're better off drinking room temperature water because ice water like burns up your metabolism.
It's a good thing I always drink room temperature water.
Is that why you made some really weird gesture when you pointed like that?
I'm an anti-ice water guy. I always have been. Mainly because I can't drink it very fast. Because it's too cold.
Anyways, card cut. It is Monday, my dudes. March 20th. Izzo 20th. Shit. How dare I? It's Izzo 20th. It is
You had that planned so long. Oh my gosh.
It is 8:27 p.m. And this is March. And Michigan State's in the Sweet 16. We have a Sweet 16 team on our podcast to talk about, which is better than having 0 Sweet 16 teams to talk about on our podcast. So, round of applause for that.
Is that 3 years in a row?
Yeah,
We've always had a team to talk about in the second weekend.
This podcast has never not seen a Sweet 16. I'm telling you, there's some weird juju with when this show started in the rise of sports in Detroit.
It's resulted in 0 championships.
Except for the Pistons.
Except for the Tigers.
And the Red Wings haven't won anything either.
And
So
the
far.
Lions
haven't either.
We
The
have
Lions
to face
just
Detroit.
the Lions won free agency and finished above 500.
Lions beat Aaron Rodgers in his last game.
Also,
It's true.
to note in the opening, this is the #1 sports podcast in Michigan. I did not say that. You can follow us at Shot of MS everywhere for up-to-the-date social media coverage. And you can listen to this show, the bedrock of Shot of Michigan Sports, the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Without further ado, I guess, Alex, like, do you have anything to say about your week? I heard you didn't do much because you're just trying to lay low recently.
Why do you have to be so weird, man?
I
I enjoyed Michigan State basketball with good buddies this weekend. That's what I did. Not a lot to it.
Anything else you did besides just enjoy some hoops?
I played pickup basketball on Wednesday.
Right, you do that.
Didn't have a game. We just played pickup.
I have a theory. Oh, you didn't play. I had a theory you
We had a bye
lost
week.
because okay. I thought you guys lost because you didn't. You only text Evan and I when you win, which is
Yeah,
a front
which is
runner
5-0.
mentality.
Just
That's
happens
true,
to be
Evan.
5-0.
We weren't getting those texts when he lost. I'll tell you that.
I think I told you guys the first 2 games.
No,
Maybe not. But no, just pick up. Other than that, no, I don't think I did anything fun. Didn't go to the movies by myself. Nothing.
all right. I'll go next, and Evan, you can finish this off since I think you had a pretty fun weekend. I'm guessing probably different than anyone else that's on this podcast. I went to the grocery store this weekend. I know
What store?
sounds Hy-Vee,
Still high.
my spot. I used plastic bags this time though. I conquered my paper bag demons. And the only notable thing is, nice grandma told me I was the fastest self checkout person of all time that she's ever seen, hands down.
He said all that. Fastest I've ever seen, hands down, all time.
She did not say the words all time or hands down, but she did say you're the fastest person at self checkout I've ever seen.
Why were you using paper bags in the first place?
Because you can use the less bags overall. They hold more. But the handles break.
Less sturdy, but they're better for the environment, Alex. Duh.
Evan
Well,
from the
everyone should
clouds.
really just use reused, like recyclable bags, like
What if I just bring my plastic bags
Yep.
back every time?
the same plastic bags, or
Yeah.
like
Yeah, same.
Sure.
one.
sturdier, like reusable plastic bags.
No. Like I get my bags plastic and I bring them back.
You'd be the first person I think in mankind to ever do that.
Yeah, that's a serious serial killer move. That's like pre-crime. Be locked up if you did that
I reuse my plastic bags. Not for that.
for your bathroom
Bathroom,
lunch,
the small little bathroom can.
trash.
like
Yeah.
a bathroom
I do
trash
too.
can.
I
Yeah,
do too. Okay.
if you need to throw up in a pinch,
I sure. I could just go to the toilet at that point, but
not to go too dark, but you could choke someone out with those.
an intruder.
Yeah,
An intruder.
if you have time.
If I can get to under the sink in the kitchen.
You probably would grab your pistol first, but maybe a plastic bag if needed. So I did that. I tried tequila high noons.
Full review.
Score.
It depends on
Which
For
one's
me,
the best?
flavor's bad is what I hear.
strawberry. Surprisingly, it's weird. All right, let me break it down. Strawberry
bad.
tastes the least like tequila. So if you don't like tequila, you should have strawberry. But I don't mind tequila, so I thought strawberry was the worst because it tasted gimmicky. Whereas like the lime and the grapefruit and passion fruit tasted solid. I will say though, like, you know how when you drink a high noon, you don't really taste vodka whatsoever, I would say. Like in my opinion, I do not taste vodka when I drink those.
Yeah.
You do taste tequila when you drink these. So if you don't like tequila, you will probably not like these. I don't mind it, and I thought it was solid. I would put it in the 8s, like an 8.2, just as a overall score. But the problem is since they're new, they know that, and they've priced them such. It's $25 for 8, which is very pricey.
Yeah, that's a lot. What's the percentage on these?
4.5%.
It's not even really a bang for your buck.
No, I think normal high noons are sit around 20, 21, maybe 18 if there's a sale, but like these are the new ones, so they put them at 25. 26. I think it was $25.99 or $24.99. I was like, well, and then I was walking out of the store and I saw like a fifth of vodka that was like Tito's, like for the same price. I was like, yeah, like one of the like bang for your buck wise. This is not the value play right here.
You could just buy water, sparkling water, and tequila, Grant, and make your own.
I probably would not make it as good. I give High Noon credit. They have great taste ability. Like they do have good products, but they know that and they price them accordingly. I got Raising Cane's again. And then today I went to Yes. I feel like I never formally said that, but I did hit 180.
But like you didn't take a picture and send it to anybody so no one believes you, including me.
Sent it to my family. Sent it to Marissa.
How do you look in the mirror? Shirtless.
Just depends on the day.
Do you look bigger?
Don't we all? Depends on the day.
Do you look tubby?
I mean, anyone like when you're post workout, you
like
can
a
be
milk
like,
bag?
"Wow, I look awesome." If it like I
Did
had
Do you
worked
look milk baggish? Yeah. Because you're pasty.
on Saturday, I got Haagen-Dazs from the grocery store. After I ate Haagen-Dazs in the middle of basketball, I did look like a milk bag.
What flavor?
There's no doubt. Cookie dough. So good. Chunks of cookie dough and voluptuous vanilla ice cream.
I did a new ice cream flavor this week. Evan, I don't know if you've had it.
And it was
Some Ben and Jerry's like cookie crumble deal.
Oh, is actual cookies in it?
It's cookie
Yeah.
dough. It's chocolate
had
chip cookie
that.
dough and peanut butter cookie dough in it, isn't it?
No, there's no peanut. It's like I would just say it's not very good. I'd describe it, like those little
What?
airplane cookies you get?
No. I've been on an airplane twice in my life, so no.
Fair.
All right, they're just like,
And one of them was an
they're
hour
like
flight,
cookies
so I
with
didn't
no
get
chocolate
anything.
chips or anything in it. Just
So
like a
sugar
cookie.
Milk
Nah.
and cookies? Was it milk and cookies?
I'll just go look.
Ben and Jerry's, this flavor milk and cookies is very good. It has like legitimate pieces of cookie in it, and it's a nice crunch.
Some of their core I don't like because they overdo it. It's not as much ice cream in it.
I agree with you on that.
Like I also don't really like the topped, like the chocolate ganache on top. It overpowers it too much. Like just give me to the ice cream. I thought I would like it.
All right.
It's an arm workout
I-
to get through like
I
a Ben and
lied.
Jerry's.
Yes.
How much stuff is in there? All right, he lied to us. He lied to
Well,
us.
sort of. It is a cookie.
He lied.
Boom Chocolata cookie core.
Oh, there's
Mocha?
a core in it, Alex. That's why we were just talking about it while you were gone. You probably heard us though. Yeah, you're right.
I heard you. Mocha caramel ice cream with chocolate cookies, fudge flakes, and chocolate cookie core. I don't think I
probably
like
have
the
seen
core.
this. I
Ew.
just
Ew. I'm looking at
probably
this
have
picture. Yeah, I
oh,
would
Alex, yes,
I would
I've had this.
I don't really like it.
I've had that one.
I would never pick that out at a grocery store. That's on you.
It was the last one available, and I didn't like the other flavors.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Boom Chocolata. What a dumb name. Whoever sat in that marketing room.
It's not my best favorite considering it's been in there a week and I haven't finished it. If I liked it, it would have been gone in one sitting.
And today, for work purposes, we had like a small like team outing of like 30 to 35 people. And our last stop was to a whiskey distillery here in Minnesota. It was quite a fascinating tour and whiskey tasting. I realized I don't like Irish whiskey. I like American whiskey because the Irish whiskey tasted pretty bad, in my opinion.
I don't know any Irish whiskeys off the top of my head.
Jameson is the brand name whiskey for Irish people.
Proper 12.
I guess that's the new one. I don't think real Irish people embrace that, though. I think they think it's a gimmick.
Yeah. I tell you what, Jameson's pretty good. Jameson
Evan-
Orange.
Ooh, I've never had that. Oh, what's his face? Evan E. on the camping trip had that, I believe. Or no,
He
that was
had Captain American
Captain
Orange
Mor-
Vanilla.
Yeah. Coke.
That's
Dude,
rum.
Yeah. Do you guys remember the orange vanilla Coke commercial from
Yes.
the March Madness
I
tournament?
said it once yesterday when they were talking about cherry something.
Was
Or
that
Dr.
last
Pepper
year?
has a new
Or 2 years
strawberry
ago?
cream flavor.
It was the year you guys made the Final Four in Minnesota. Was the year it was.
Orange
just-
vanilla Coke.
Just like Evan said it.
Every
was
other
like-
commercial.
It was like a cop. It was a cop, a lady cop, and she had the Coke, and it was like a chase scene, and then it ended with orange vanilla Coke.
I don't remember it.
Because I was talking to Marissa about commercials, like you watch so much hoops, and I said if I see that stupid John Cena Experian commercial one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. And she's like, I haven't seen it. I was like, I don't know how they've played it 5 times per hour on NCAA March Madness Live, and I'm going to lose it. And I was like, it's funny how like, oh my God, dude, it is a joke. I also don't like John Cena, so that like already taints it. John Cena. That was pretty much my week. The guy Evan. So I guess this company, not to bore people, but they flew to Ireland to like poach this guy that was the head distiller at Jameson. Like he was the guy at Jameson, like the taste master, and they poached him because he wanted to make Irish and American whiskey and blend them together, which was in the industry. Like, you don't do that. You separate them. So
no one ever even thought about it.
Yeah, his is an Irish and American whiskey, and that was his passion project. So he left a cushy job at Jameson to fly and live in Minnesota willingly instead of his home country to do this project. And he was just there at the end of the tour. Like, they were hyping this guy up the whole tour, saying he's like the master of distillery. Like, the last time someone got awarded that title was like 40 years ago. Like, they made it sound like he's some like sensei, like voodoo, like a master of the arts. And then boom, he's just sitting there at the end of the tour and took questions for like an hour. It was wild.
What'd you ask?
I didn't ask anything. People ask good questions. He had an amazing accent.
How are we going to become reporters if you're afraid to ask that guy questions?
I wanted to ask him, where does Canadian whiskey fit into all this? Because that wasn't mentioned on the tour. And Crown Royal,
they just pulled our media credentials.
Crown Royal is so big that I was like, where does Canadian whiskey fit in? But what I learned, though, here's a fact that you can use at parties. If any smart aleck guy says that water is very important, like the quality of water where you're at and making whiskey, he basically said that's a myth now, because you can just add whatever minerals to water you can. So it doesn't matter if you get the worst water in the world, you can still make good whiskey.
Thanks. I will definitely say that to women at parties.
But back in the day, that's why Kentucky was so big at whiskey, because they had limestone water from a well, and that's why their whiskey, limestone
the
water
limey
from a
flavor.
Well. It's a joke. That's how they make bourbon, I guess.
Wow.
I don't know. All I know is it's such a patient. You have to they've been making. They can't sell like their own bottle like to mass produce until they let it sit in a barrel for 4 years. And I was like, who has time for that?
Didn't know that.
I knew that.
Will never be a whiskey guy.
But it depends on what you're doing, because like American whiskey, they go fast. They don't wait as long. But like old stuff in like different bottles, they had one thing there on display that was in there for 20 years. I'm like, damn, that thing's seen a lot. Like, just sitting in a barrel for 20 years.
Maybe you'll come back in another life as whiskey in a barrel.
That sounds like the next Morgan Wallen song right there. Whiskey in a barrel. All right, that was pretty much it. Evan, your weekend.
Started
Where were you?
on
a regional final.
Regional
final championship.
Okay, I watched the game. It
Actually,
was
both games
game.
have to be mentioned. Because it was Monday. Wednesday.
When did we record last? We recorded last
Sunday.
Didn't you beat that team handily in the semis?
Or
no?
Who'd you play?
Charlotte. Orioles from Charlotte. They were a solid team. Couple good guards. They could shoot pretty well. Oh, they had a post player, probably 6'5", 6'6". Worthless.
Oh,
worthless.
No offense.
Sorry, Evan. Just kids.
No offense.
Sorry, but yeah.
But if you're 6'6" and you're a massive human being, like a massive post player in high school, you should be able to dominate. Didn't
Chris
do much.
Durabantu looking at you, buddy.
Much. Very solid team effort in the semifinal game. Came away at the end. And then Wednesday, you know how I said like the district game was a top 5 high school basketball game I've ever watched? Well, this one was also a top 5 high school basketball game I've watched. Another overtime game.
No emotions on the bench?
I can confirm. I didn't get to see Evan on the bench. They didn't have you in like the camera view.
Yeah, I was.
Turns out Evan has been lying to us. He wasn't there.
I was there. There's pictures of me there.
He's there. Evan
He was wearing the
lurks
orange
on that.
pants.
Evan kind of lurks on the edge of the huddle sometimes with his iPad.
Yeah,
He's
give
an
the
iPad
stats
kid.
if they ask for it. I got my high score at Candy Crush a couple weeks ago, and Temple Run is actually back.
Back for you.
Yeah. I check like the score table basically and just give the stats to somebody if they ask for them. But the game was just an instant classic. Overtime. Some foul issues on both sides. The refs try to get involved like we've seen in college recently. Like, hey, buddy, it's not your game. Like, just let it happen. So that was a problem. But tough loss, very difficult loss to conference rival at their place. You had to watch them cut down the nets afterwards as you're leaving. 8 seniors had to go out that note.
That's a lot.
Farthest a team's ever made it since 1990 for a hometown team. So, I mean, we were Sweet 16. So, pretty impressive.
I'll say it because you can't because you're the coach, but that block call, charge call was absolutely.
When you put it in the group chat, I watched it when I got home, and I was like, that was a block.
It was for
I watched
sure.
it back. I
Five, I,
thought
was
it was
like,
a charge.
I can see it.
He was sliding and he like leaned his body. If you lean your body whatsoever to embrace contact, it's an auto block.
This is why I discussed this after the game. This is why if you're talking about player safety in high school and like preventing injuries and like your big proponent concussion, coaches have to get concussion certified now, players even have to take tests now. Like if you're worried about player safety, why is there not an arch like at college at the high school level now?
Yeah.
Everyone is more than capable of putting that on their court. And like player safety, like if you're inside that and a player takes off no matter what, it's a block. I think it needs to be talked about in high school. It also takes away like the really bad like 20-point games. The post player just can't stand underneath the basket. He actually has to move a little bit farther away from the basket. I think that should be MHSA rule number 1 change for high school basketball. It needs the little half moon circle underneath the basket to protect players.
Yeah, I think they should like go so extreme and they should take away charges for a year in basketball so everyone has to learn to toughen up and then we can introduce them back into the slow rate.
That's
a little extreme. Grant.
That's a hot take.
Like let's just sack
AJ
up and
Hogarth
stop
would be the best
flopping.
player in the country. He
Yeah.
would. You just
Okay.
I would tell you what, people
Since
would
we're
go
on
to
this
the ground
topic-
way less.
Since we're on
They
this
would
topic,
stay on their
Grant,
feet.
do you feel like it's been a point of emphasis during March Madness games to call like the offensive foul from not from a running like layup at the rim, but like a push off at like middle in the paint, top of the arch, free throw line? I swear I've seen triple amount of in the tournament than I did all year. Like Hogarth's foul against Marquette, and then like at halftime we flipped over the UConn game and literally like the second possession offensive foul. It's like half the time it should be called a flop, in my opinion. You guys should be in legal guarding position, be called a charge, and they're not in legal guarding position.
Yeah, or like what I know like fans freak out because fans were so used to calls. I would just eat my whistle and just like, I mean, when you play like pickup, you just eat your whistle and then you just keep playing. It's not really that big of a deal. If it happens over and over again, you can call. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out for the rounds for it. I don't think what I have noticed. What I've noticed that I haven't seen a lot is like the worst type of charge calls when a guy's barreling down the lane and makes a beautiful pass to the corner and then runs into a guy who slides over late and then they call a charge and it usually wipes away a wide open 3-pointer. I hate those charge calls. I haven't seen a lot of those in March, so I'm thankful because sometimes like that there's a pandemic of those where you just see that left and right and it's the worst.
Yeah.
I feel like once the ball is out of your hands, like you should not get called for a charge. I wouldn't hate that. Like if you're just trying to slide over on a guy late when he already made a pass, it's so cheap. I get it. I would do it if I played, but it's so cheap.
I'll
Anyways,
look you there.
reffing's broken.
So that was Wednesday. Yeah. Well, transition right into it's now baseball season, coaching baseball season now.
Hell yeah!
Your
so
douche of the
basketball
week
season
was given out last week, Evan.
Huh?
You gave out douche of the week last week at a baseball meeting.
That was a separate, but I'm saying that was a
travel.
True. Shout out. Yeah. We'll get to there.
Okay.
I paused. Almost paused.
There's a nominee, I think.
Yes, there is. There is a non, and I almost said.
I know what happened, Evan.
Yep.
Oh no.
Now I lost where I was at. Friday, just woke up super early. I coach baseball now. It's baseball season. Transition right from basketball to baseball.
World Baseball Classic.
And worked for a little bit and then drove to East Lansing to partake. Supposed to be at the Riv. Riv became super popular. 3 reasons why.
Because we talked about it on this podcast.
Yeah, 3 reasons why it's not the same as last year. Last year was the most beautiful day in East Lansing, 72, sunny. Everybody was outside. This year, like 30 degrees, 40 degrees, slight mist, rain just enough to piss you off, and windy and cold. So that weather, Friday, and Michigan State playing is why the bars were absolutely packed. A couple bars were packed. Like the Riv was the line from Grant. You know where the Riv entrance is?
Yeah.
All the way to Potbellies on Grand River.
Oh, wow.
That has to be like 400 people deep. At 7 a.m. Now, every other bar didn't really have a line. It got a little bit busy. So we went to the Harp Show. Had a great time there. But they're on our low-end radar.
They're on our shit list for show.
Yeah, they are. The beer, first of all, they put way too much dye in it. Way too thick. It was a heavy dark green.
Ew, I'm going to throw up.
Like a dark green, Grant. Like you could, if you lifted up your beer, you know how light beer, you should be able to see through it?
Yeah.
You could not see through it.
And thick? Like how thick?
I'm not saying the beer was thick, but I'm saying like the dye that they put in it made it look super thick.
It looked like Shrek swamp water.
Yes. What are you doing to me, Swamp?
I'm making waffles.
Donkey. All right, great. You're off the rails. You just pipe down.
But Harper's was super fun. We had a good group. Yeah, we had a good group of people there.
Ricky.
Started way too early, 9, and we were there until... What time did our game start? Game started at noon. We were there until probably like 2:30ish. I just caught that.
Okay, Evan.
Ricky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just...
Good guy.
A good group of us watched basketball late at night. I did not. I slept for 18 hours.
We sleep in May.
We sleep in May. I should.
You're prepping. You just needed a little more extra sleep before the next one.
I physically could not keep my eyes open. And then that was Friday. Saturday, just an all-you-could basketball buffet.
Mm.
And then Sunday had an actually breakfast buffet.
Flapjacks.
Shout out Flapjacks. Dude, that place is so good.
Corned beef hash?
I did not have the corned beef hash.
No corned beef hash.
I just don't know if I don't have the balls enough to get it.
It just seems like a lot. It's perfect for Grant.
It's a lot of sodium.
Michigan State. So I'm 2 Michigan State wins this weekend. It's a fantastic time with a great.
How was your Monday morning?
My Monday morning this morning, I was actually chipper this morning. I felt totally fine. I was not tired at all.
Hell yeah.
18 hours.
I slept a lot on Saturday. So I'm ready to attack. I'm ready to attack this weekend.
Did you have a douche of the week, Evan?
Oh, shout out douche of the week nominee. A friend of the podcast, Connor.
Recent host of the podcast.
Who came onto the show a couple of weeks ago. He is the douche of the week. We were gambling responsibly, of course. Cheese was in the middle of trying to win a bet. UCLA to cover. Out of nowhere, those two were just going at it, trying to get agreement. Connor was trying to get free money out of Colby's bet. Basically saying, hey, if you win, give me $10 of your bet. Colby eventually, I think, said yes, said no, don't know what happened. As soon as that argument finished, Connor instantly started cheering for Northwestern.
What?
Instantly started cheering for Northwestern. Cheering, not really cheering for Northwestern, but cheering for Colby's bet to lose.
That's messed up.
Colby almost won douche of the week because he mushed Ricky's bet when Auburn was up 10 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Colby instantly turned and said, congrats on your win, and put out his hand.
A Grant move.
He was trying, you know what? Yeah, he's copying my move. Cheers to your win.
So UCLA did not cover, and Connor basically Colby out of $260.
Oh my God.
On the podcast?
Yes. It basically was a slap in the face.
Yeah. It's weird though if he was like going to get part of it. Why would he do that?
And then, my understanding of the situation, there was no agreement in place.
Oh, he got mad.
Connor just got mad and chose to mush and root against him. Yeah, and this was weird, like the sixth leg of a parlay, from what I've heard.
No, it's kind of weird.
If UCLA hit Grant, all he had to do was Auburn win by like 3.5, and he would have won. And it did.
Lost.
There's a lot of rules about gambling and vibes, and you just you gotta be careful. Like I remember, I'm not gonna say names, but we were in East Lansing 2 tournaments ago, and I told everyone to take North Texas against Purdue. And someone I had never met walked in for the first time, and there was like 4 minutes left. North Texas was up 4. And they're like, oh, this game's over. And I turn around, still 4 minutes left. Like, we're sweating this out. And I was like, oh, wait, I don't know who you are.
Gambling's intense.
I wish I would have actually watched that live. I wish I would have watched that interaction live.
Yeah, I don't think I said it that.
It wasn't that aggressive.
I'm embellishing, but I did turn around and say something. I was like, we're not even close to done with this game. Like, there's 4 minutes left, and we're like a 13 seed. Let's just relax. So, yeah, you just have to, like, toe the line. Don't be mean. You can bet against your friends, like, on accident. Like, it's kind of mean to do it on purpose, but, like, if you guys didn't talk about it and, like, oh, one guy's on Houston, one guy's on Auburn, then, yeah, like, you just got to understand they're not going to be rooting for you. I imagine it's stressful.
I'm assuming, like, on the Barstool streams when they're all, like 12 guys and, like, half are on one side, half are on the other. I'm sure it gets pretty tense.
Yeah, it's just as long
Especially
as, like,
when they're throwing big money around.
The biggest thing to remember too, start the car, it's very loud, is like if you have like a 10-leg parlay and you still have like 7 legs to hit, if you have like 7 legs to hit on a 10-leg parlay still, and like one guy just bet a solo money line game, their bet matters way more than yours. Like, in the scheme of that.
I'm glad you said that, Grant.
Why? Did Evan have a situation like that?
No, I'm just glad you said that. I just have strong thoughts on parlays. That's all.
We can do parlays, but your bet.
Just in a group of people, if someone has a 7-legger and one has a 1-game money line with a lot of units for them.
I'll tell you what, nothing gets the boys excited this weekend. That game matters
more. Yeah.
Then you start betting next basket outcome.
That's full degenerate level stuff.
That is intense.
Could never imagine.
Some people were hitting it, some people weren't. I got in on it once and instantly failed.
Right. To tie up on the record the loose ends of the parlay, people so they don't attack me. Yes, if you're on the last leg of your parlay, then it matters a lot. But you don't get to be like, oh,
it's not your moment in the first leg.
Correct. Like, you can still root for your team, but you should not be banging your chest as much as the guy who has money line just that game. Like, that's a different level.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. We'll get back to basketball. We're going to start with NFL football for a nice break. The Lions were...
Freaking Lions. The Lions do not sleep. Brad Holmes has not slept. He says we'll sleep in May.
It wasn't that late. It was 9 p.m.
No, I'm just saying, like, there's...
No, it was later than that.
Alex, it was everybody is...
Grant.
It was late.
I was in the car.
Alex, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's March Madness. Like, hey, NFL, take a couple weekends off.
Brad doesn't watch basketball. Just
relax for a couple weekends. Nope. The Lions are winning the North.
Wow. I love that. Starting off hot. I love that. I agree with you, Evan.
You put in 2 of the top corners to address your situation now. The Lions secondary is better today than it was 6 days ago.
Monumentally better.
And this isn't like I hope it's better by drafting like 2 rookies. No, this is we signed proven guys that have stats to back it up in the NFL that are well respected amongst their peers on their teams.
And like relatively low contracts too, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing
mind blowing. Flexibility like year to year basis, Alex.
1 year.
Our long year commitment is
could
just
hurt you if you
for
can't
2
get
years.
People to commit later if they're good. But yes, 1 year deals.
So my biggest thing, Alex, I'll start with you, is something you liked, something you didn't like. Any revelations, any takeaways you had? You can just do one thing, or honestly, the floor is yours for whatever you thought about free agency for the Lions.
I think the Lions addressed nearly all their needs in a highly efficient manner. I'm not disappointed in any moves. The only thing I think that still needs to be addressed free agency wise is we don't have a backup quarterback, and contenders, you need a backup quarterback. It's very important. We don't have one. That's the only thing I think we need. But overall, I'm happy. Despite me saying last week I didn't want CJGJ.
Say that 10 times fast. I've been practicing.
CJGJ. But I guess the difference of why I'm okay with it is because I trust Aaron Glenn to put him in the right spots to succeed, even though he can kind of play multiple positions.
Is that speculating, Alex, or is that walked over and had a conversation with Aaron Glenn, Alex?
Aaron and I talked on the porch last night.
Said, hey, what about his character concerns? He's like, trust me, Alex, he's a good guy.
Where are we going to put CJGJ? In fact, he was over at Aaron's house.
Said, Alex,
we all
please
had a
call me
conversation.
Chauncey. The last Chauncey this town had was a dog.
Whoa, dude, he did some bad things off the court.
Alex, why do you gotta go there?
Well, just in case people
All
think
of our
that.
heroes have done bad things.
Not mine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Tiger Woods.
Cassius Winston, great person.
Yep. True.
He
Well,
can't
I've
be,
heard.
he's not my hero, but, he's younger than me. That'd be weird.
Evan, you had a finger point at one point during
I had a
Alex's talk.
couple. Well, I had one, and then now I have a second one because Alex talked about that. There was the whole notion, I don't know, last year, 2 years ago, we bitched and complained basically that we
do that a lot.
we signed Chase Daniels before the draft to show our hand that we're not drafting a quarterback. Maybe we won't do that this year. Maybe
You don't
we're
want to sign a backup?
I do want to sign back. I do not want to draft a quarterback for the next 2 years.
When did we sign Chase Daniel?
He was
some
our
point.
quarterback for 2 years ago. He was our
Did he get a Thanksgiving start, or was that when he was on the Bears?
Then they got injured, and then David Blau had to play. Is
Yeah.
that the whole thing I'm remembering?
I think so.
I do see him in a Lions uniform.
Teddy Bridgewater could be a Lions backup.
We gave him a decent amount of money.
Evan, what if we drafted a QB in the 4th round? Is that different than taking one earlier?
It is. I don't like it. I want based off with your free agent signings and the season we had last year, you're in win now mode, and I need every single draft pick in the first 100 picks to contribute to the team.
Okay.
Yeah, now granted, the backup quarterback could contribute to the team. Everybody's like, well, he could be our future. He's not going to be a future. Look at the 4th round quarterbacks drafted and later. They don't really
Dak
pan out
Prescott.
that well. Besides a couple,
Brock
Alex.
Purdy,
Besides a couple.
Kirk Cousins.
I think Kirk Cousins is a 3rd round pick.
Tom Brady went late, I think.
Yeah, he
Of
might
course
have.
they went late. We get your point, and we do. The problem with it is because the Brock Purdy phenomenon that you can't blame them if they try to do one late just to see what they got.
And it worked out having that 3rd guy.
Yeah, I don't mind
Yes.
being that late. I mean, it's just a sense around. You basically just throw a dart at the board and see what player comes out and see who we can develop. But next, there was a lot of hoopla, I should say, and
Good
uproar
word.
I do have some thoughts on this as well.
from the fan favorite. Can't think of the show off. It's not Defend the Den. What is the show that I can't think of right now?
Inside
Hard
the den.
Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
Oh.
There it is. Hard Knocks favorite Jamal Williams not being re-signed by the
right,
Lions.
Jamal Williams.
Taking less money to the Saints, and everyone's like, "You're going to do Jamal Williams that dirty, whatever franchise leading in season." But I look at it as this: David Montgomery's an all-around better running back, more athletic, better first, second, and third down than Jamal Williams. Now, Jamal Williams brings leadership factors, but I think right now the backfield's better than it was at the start of last year. And I personally think Jamal Williams just benefited from goal line carries that will now be handed to David Montgomery because DeAndre Swift has glass as collarbones and shoulders, and he won't take those carries.
Mean. So mean.
He won't take those carries.
Firm but fair.
Fred
Firm but fair.
Reynolds.
I love the David Montgomery signing. I absolutely
too.
love it. He was now the comparison. I don't know what analyst did that we tweeted out, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, guys, come on, calm down." Some analyst did that. I don't think he's as good as all those. He is way more athletic than
That's what
Sony
counts.
Michel. Way more athletic than Sony Michel. But
Tony
he ran
Michel's a
behind.
short turd.
He ran behind the Bears' offensive line. He should be able to succeed very well in our system behind our offensive line. I just love the Montgomery signing.
Now, listen to Grant poo-poo it and say, oh, it's too much money. Oh, well.
Well, Grant's Bijan Robinson.
Because he
That's
wants Bijan in the first
Yeah.
round on first-round money, which is still a lot.
It's less than what
18th pick
David
would have been
get
just
paid.
around the same amount.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot of money. You don't make a lot at that position. I've done the numbers.
Grant, they would have taken him at 6.
No. Anyways, let me get to it. I guess I'll be devil's advocate. I don't love it. I like David Montgomery as a player. And I agree with every point that he is two times, three times running back that Jamal Williams is. They have the same exact stats throughout their career, and David's played 2 less years, and he's played on a historically bad offensive line. Like, because even going back to the start of his career, since we've followed the Bears, they're not. I can't name a single like historic good offensive lineman the Bears have ever had in their entire life.
They're awful.
So he's done the same with less in shorter amount of time. So there's no doubt he's better. And he's been relatively healthy. Every running back in this league misses at least a couple games in the season. That's just the hard truth of the position. It took me a while to process it because this was a stunning one to me. Like, this was not on my radar that we were about to get David Montgomery this offseason. I didn't even once entertain it. I figured we'd address the secondary. I thought maybe we'd go linebacker. But to see that we just signed David Montgomery, I was like Brad's got something going on. And obviously that means Jamal's gone. And then it was even more shocking when I saw Jamal's contract, not in a bad way, but in like when I saw David's contract, I thought Jamal wanted more than that. Turns out Jamal didn't need that much. And there's like he said, she said of what happened with the agent. And you guys know I'm not like I think the whole locker room stuff is very overrated in professional sports. I think it matters if you have a couple, but like you're telling me that like
overrated,
overblown. Like Jared Goff, Panay, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Bugs and Anzalone can't just like lead the team like they 100% can. You do not need Jamal Williams. Like, I'm sure people will miss his energy, but it's not like our team's going to crumble because our running back left.
No, it's the most absurd takes that I could not handle where everyone's saying, Evan, you okay?
I'm dying.
Oh no, Evan.
I couldn't believe how everyone's like, oh my God, the culture and the leadership there are going to take a massive hit. Like, there's guys. He's a goal line running back. He's not your starting middle linebacker leading the defense every down. The team's going to be fine. The culture comes from the top, not from a running back.
And our coach is a culture type of coach. Like, we will be absolutely fine. It's kind of, it almost like in a weird, and again, I'm not mad at people, including Wyatt, for being upset at it because I understand. Sure, but I understand like becoming attached to a guy, and he meant a lot to a lot of people, even though he was there in only 2 years. But it kind of shows you how like terrible we've been that someone like Jamal Williams, like people like were that attached to. I understand he broke Barry's record, but the fact that we got so emotionally invested in a guy that was here for 2 years and
absurd.
He didn't it's absurd. That's where we're at as a sports town. Like,
we're a puddle franchise that we need to get better than that.
People were like, "Oh my God, we just lost like Miguel Cabrera in his prime after his triple crown year." It's like, guys, I couldn't believe the reaction.
I couldn't believe how many people were freaking out.
The numbers surprised me.
A better player.
Yes, 100%. We signed a better player, a little bit more money, but that's fine. We upgraded. We're better. It's not 1A. 1A for Grant would be we don't touch a running back this offseason because you still have the luxury of Swift on his last year and you're going to let him walk, and then you just draft Bijan and then you're good, and then you can pick up a Bijan backup and you ride Bijan for 4 years. That was my A plan. This is an okay B plan, but I'm not like swooning over David Montgomery. I probably will when he looks good, but
he's going to look good and you're going to be like, dude's sick. And I think for the Lions, how they play football and how they want to run the ball a gajillion times and run it well, it makes sense to put a couple extra dollars into it.
Yeah, we should absolutely
like the Chiefs.
I saw some people floating out. I don't think the Lions are out of drafting a running back this year. That'd be pretty stupid in my opinion.
I think
3 already.
4. You already have 3 on the roster. You don't need a 4th.
And we know Craig's not bad. Like you can
good
draft
enough
a running
to be the 3rd running back.
I guess you're in love with a guy and you get him in the 4th round. I'm not going to get mad, but then like just draft a guy next year. Like
drafted Kenneth last year.
What we're led to believe in this league right now, what's happening in the market is that running backs don't really matter and you can just plug and play. And I'm not totally against that opinion. It seems to be the case in a lot of places.
We might need one more than others because our quarterback is not top 6 in the league.
Other notes I had, really liked Cam Sutton, and I sneaky loved Emmanuel Mosley as well. Like I remember seeing Mosley play, and then when it comes out that he was the starting cornerback on a NFC championship team and just hurt his ACL, which is a big deal. But in today's society, people come back from those better. So I love that. I felt so good about Sutton after seeing friend of the pod Luke's comments. Like that's all you need to hear from an opposing fan, that he's that gutted that they lost him. And you see the beat reporters saying that everyone says he's the smartest player they've ever played with. I was like, holy cow, he chose Detroit to come. Like, things are happening here. That's huge. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Really liked both those signings.
I sneaky liked. Well, we know we're a Bugs podcast. I love bringing Bugs back, and I like bringing Kaminsky back. Two guys who,
Kamish.
Yeah, they just salt of the earth guys, do dirty work. One that I'm underwhelmed with. I'm sure Evan agrees. Anzalone. I do get parts of it. I don't know if I'm willing to say that. I think he enough. This is what I think happened. I think the regime is. The green dot is a very important thing in a defense, and I think they're worried about, like, what if they didn't resign Anzalone and then they missed on David Wagner or someone, and then, like, you either have to make Malcolm wear the green dot or you have to sign someone else that doesn't know the defense as well. So I do understand it from that perspective, but overall it underwhelmed me. I wanted better at that position, but maybe it doesn't matter because middle linebackers are also being told they're not as important in this league. So
we have CJGJ to be a secondary linebacker.
Evan, your thoughts on Anzalone before we get to any other guys?
I always think it's way too much money.
I can't run the Oakland A's in the NFL. We know.
Yeah.
You're the worst team every year and the cheapest.
I think I get why. I mean, he played under the system. Like, he has to know the system, like, inside and out. And I 100% agree with your points, Grant. Like, the captain of the defense, how you're going to replace the play caller. Now, it might not seem like, oh, well, you can have somebody else just relay the information. Like, 42 bullets on one, ready break. No, you're just, like, getting everybody lined up and set in formations and then audibling and where the run fits are and gap personnel and all that stuff. That's where the linebackers most crucial. And our run defense last year was so bad for most of the year. Where, like, having that linebacker that knows the defense, like, his back of his hand is important. So I get it. I just would like to be more athletic at that position in the near future.
We can draft someone at 18. Anybody you guys like?
I don't think there's any linebacker worth it at 18. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't take a linebacker in the first round of
second
drafts.
Round. I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez is a fifth rounder, and he's not bad.
I want D Winners on our football team, and he's like late in the draft. I need D Winners in a Lions uniform, so that'd be my guy.
He's the TCU kid.
Yeah, he's a dog.
You don't want Noah Sewell?
If they want to do like a cool brother story, that's fine.
D Winners, 44940, number 21 linebacker.
Imagine how easy that would be for Grant if he was a GM. Hey, do you guys want Noah Sewell? Yeah, if you want to do the brothers thing, go ahead, pick him.
100%. Whatever. If it's going to make Panay happy, Panay's going to retire here and be a Hall of Famer. So like, if we had to make him happy.
Is the most unathletic linebacker in the draft.
Yeah, I watched him play at Michigan. I could have told you that.
4.9540.
He overachieved. Like, good credit to that kid. Like, his motor, he overachieved.
Yeah, he has the lowest athleticism score.
Let's see. Luke's review. Oh, okay. So I had a revelation that made me kind of feel uneasy in my stomach after all these signings. Does it kind of feel to anyone else that Jeff Okuda's days might be numbered, or like there's a clock ticking down?
I didn't feel uneasy about it.
I would say
good about it.
It's over.
It's gonna be. No, it's not.
I don't think so, Grant. Just based off of the years that they signed that are secondary, we didn't sign them until long term.
Well, one's on a 1-year deal, 2 on 1-year deals, and then 1 on a couple-year deal.
Yeah,
they'll give Jeff a chance this year to prove he's decent on special teams to make the roster.
What's Jacobs on? Anyone know? I'll look it up.
This is a prove it year. He's a free agent after this year.
Because I keep seeing like beat reporters do their like guessing depth charts after all these moves, and it's like you're gonna have 4 outside corners of like Sutton's playing outside, Mosley's outside, Jacobs is outside. Okuda has ability to come inside, but they also have him as outside. So that's like 4 outside corners, which seems like a lot. And then you have like 3 competent safeties now. Movable. Yeah, but I believe that he wants to play outside is what he told the coaching staff. And I think that's why they did
Jeff
CJ
is definitely inside movable. tackles.
But CJGJ is like inside guy. Like that's
Jeff
all he's going to
seems
play.
like he's just on like
He's going to play all over the field.
fastest guy.
Jeff
Like
seems like
everybody
he's going to
else
be gunner.
Go guard the best player.
That's
on
from
special teams.
I have a bad feeling, Alex. I have a bad feeling that
bad
like,
feeling, Grant. It's better if he's not on. This is the same with Jamal Williams for you. It's better if we have better talent than him.
No, because I don't think this could be a massive year for Jeff in the sense like he has real dogs, real like mature leaders around him.
He's
That
going to
maybe
look great because everyone else will be locking down, and he'll get to cover the 5th receiver on the Rams.
not that, just like a mentality shift. Like I think it'd be good if he got locked in a room with CJGJ for like a week and like just learned his ways and his
It'll be more than a
mentality.
week.
Like you mean like a season?
I mean, he's going to have all year, Grant. Let's figure it out. I'm
No,
sure
but
the
I mean, like
staff will give him a shot. And
I
then
mean,
we'll
like
trade him.
a darkness retreat for like CJGJ. You trade him for what at that point? It's like if
Jalen
he's
Ramsey,
not-
I guess, is all you said it would take. He's that good.
That's not what we talked about. Jalen Ramsey went for nothing, so let's
He's
relax.
an
on
elite
slandering me.
all-pro corner, Jeff Okuda. He will be.
Jalen Ramsey-
according to you.
Also, I don't know if this is a hot take. I kind of would rather have done what we did than just get Jalen Ramsey.
I don't think that's a hot take. More is always
Okay.
better.
I 100% agree, Grant. You need a more well-rounded team.
I do think that CJGJ could easily be a disappointment, but I am all in for now.
I disagree. He makes an impact wherever he goes. We'll get to that in a second. I'm still weighing up my CJGJ hype. Anyways,
Buy his jersey.
I looked at it last night. I wasn't going to get a jersey because he's only on a 1-year deal, but I want to get like a vintage t-shirt or like a t-shirt that maybe he makes or someone makes of him in like Lions stuff if they ever make one. I will buy that. I have his rookie card. He's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL that no one would ever think of.
So then you should totally be able to jump off the Okuda bandwagon.
They don't play the same position. They're not competing.
Close enough.
This also goes to my theory, especially last night, the move last night, but I still saw beat reporters earlier after Sutton and Mosley, like Lions could still draft someone at 18 for cornerback. And I said, you're if you think we're drafting a cornerback in the first round. Like, we're not. Our GM does not do that. He never did that in LA, and he's proving that he wants to go get proven guys at that position. He loves the trenches, and he wants to put high draft picks in the trenches. At this point, with the amount of guys,
Will Anderson.
I think, I don't know if it's Will Anderson, but I am under the impression we're training up with all the guys we've signed on defense because we don't have room for 4 like top 80 draft picks.
I don't think we
do,
like
but we
anybody
don't.
at 18. I think we want to just move up.
I'm sure they like Bijan because you can't not like Bijan, but they're realizing
They're
he's
not
got David
drafting
Montgomery. I
They
think we
might take a quarterback.
We might trade up for a quarterback, which would be crazy, but we might.
We might start the process. And Evan will go berserk. It'll
No,
be
I think we're gonna.
great
I think
entertainment for our live draft.
I will not go berserk. Depends. Well, actually, I cannot say that. Depends on who it is.
I would love an Evan meltdown. Will Levis just
God, that'd be
cursing.
oh wow, I think I'd melt down on that.
I would not cheer for the Lions.
I was shortly after talk myself into Josh Allen.
Evan, you make that threat every single year. You're not going to cheer for this team, and you come back every year.
You just come back stronger.
I will not cheer for the Lions if they draft Will Levis and watch.
Last year in the beginning of the season, you said this team's boring. You didn't even like watching them.
We have
And then
text from you
Packers
saying
I
that.
said I didn't.
Packers
like watching
game
the
was
NFL.
your Super Bowl. You just loved every second of it.
I said I didn't want to watch the NFL.
The year of growth Evan had was in the offseason during college football. He said, if the Lions draft Hutchinson, I will never root for them again. And then at the end of the year in Green Bay, he's like, Hutchinson might be good. A year of growth for Evan.
So whatever we do, Evan, you'll.
I still
always
don't think
root for this
Hutchinson should have been the 2 overall pick.
team. Evan, you can't think that now.
That's semantics.
We're not
at
going
this
not win the
point.
defensive
We're not
rookie
going
of the
to
year.
this. We're not going. You didn't want Sauce Gardner too.
I do think Will Anderson is the guy. I feel like our staff loves them. I think we're going to try to get him. And I'm
Will
all
Anderson,
for it.
I
We'd be
have
nasty.
fallen in with a prospect, and I'm not telling you who it is yet. Sprinkle that later. But there is a prospect
love
out there
that.
that I am falling in love with, and I don't know. I think 6 might be too high for him.
Wow, that's a Hall of Fame tease right there for a future episode.
It's Michael Mayer.
Caught me. Yep, caught me. No, dude, dude is dirt slow.
Okay.
He does not look fast.
Offense or defense?
Not drafting. Special teams. Moody. Probably too high for 6. Yeah.
Six.
Speaking of guys numbered, DeAndre Swift days feel numbered. I think that we kind of discussed that. I feel like this. You think we're going to re-sign him after this year?
Where's he going to go for more money?
Some of them will. The Panthers seem to like just take people.
He might be cheap. He might come back for a 1 year prove it.
NFL Live said this multiple times throughout this week. There's always an offensive coordinator out there somewhere that thinks they can fix anybody they touch.
DeAndre Swift doesn't have problems other than his glass bones.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I just got this notification on the Score app. He said, quote, Detroit is a little bit better than Eagles Super Bowl team. I love this guy.
Just relax, Grant, please. It's March.
I need you to think about this right now. We talk about contract years. Do you realize how nasty we're about to be with Montgomery and Swift in a contract year? We've never seen a contract year Swift. Have we?
Is that
Grant?
Montgomery's nice. In a contract? I thought we signed him to a multiple year deal.
We have Montgomery and we have Swift on a contract year. Not both. Swift is on a contract year.
No, it all comes down to his glass bones.
I think he's going to be motivated to play as many snaps as possible and be a dog because he knows this is his shot. Me too.
Milk.
I hope Kate Cunningham is drinking milk as well.
So late.
Okay. Evan said North to start. I wrote down North or bust in my notes for free agency after what happened. Like all the pressure's on us, getting comfortable with expectations. We're not like some cute little, the Lions could surprise people. No, like we should be the favorites in the NFC North. No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
it's a bust. It's a bust if we don't. I mean, if we don't win it and we make the playoffs and we win a playoff game, whatever. That's semantics at that point. But I do want to hang an NFC North banner in Ford Field next season. I really do.
It would be cool. It's March. Let's relax.
It's cool that we are the team with connections now. Like you look around the league, like the Patriots and other teams.
We had Patriots connections.
I kind of meant that more in like, I shouldn't have said connections. I should have said like has cachet, where like people that are good but have been cast offs, they want to go to New England to try to win something. Like we're trying to get that vibe where like we get CJ GJ because we have Aaron Glenn, and Cam Sutton talks about how Dan Campbell's motto and like energy is reverberating throughout the league and people want to go play for him. I've never felt like, I don't think as fans we've ever had that experience where people want
a destination.
Agreed. And like we slowly are like becoming like a gritty destination where guys just want to go work hard and they think they can win something now, which is, I don't know what to do with my hands when stuff like that happens. We've never experienced
on this podcast. Evan has said that Detroit will never be a destination. Now that might have been in reference to the Pistons,
and he's right. He's right at his core.
It does show how far you can go with coaches and that are well respected and liked around the league.
I had a question that I think further proves that the cap is fake. I don't know if you guys understand how, but I was flabbergasted.
See Okoro today just eliminated like $9 million from his.
Huge.
Good guy.
I simply don't know how, when free agency opened and you looked at the teams that had cap space, and this team was like bottom 5, the Niners, and they just pulled Javon Hargrave from the clouds to like a 4-year, $84 million deal. I like talked to people. I was like, my coworkers, I'm like, I think the cap's fake. I don't understand how that just happened. It's just like
signing bonus,
like backloading, signing bonus, front loading. There's a lot of words you can use.
Just all these buzzwords that we don't really know what they mean.
I know what it means.
I learned.
Oh, he works for Excel, Grant. He knows. Trust me.
I work for Excel. I work for the company Microsoft Excel.
I learned that there's no excuse for any team not to go get a player when it comes to money, because the Niners went and just got Hargrave in the minute free agency opened. Like, it's all fake. It's all fake numbers. It's like that scene in Wolf of Wall Street when Matthew McConaughey's like, boo, boo, pixie dust, boo, boo. Like, that's the salary cap.
Signing bonuses don't count against the cap.
No cap.
No cap. So if you got an owner that is willing to pay, those be like, $74 million signing bonus, and then we'll put that 10 out over 4 years, and it's a $2 million, $3 million cap hit.
Get your money up, Alex. Not your funny up. Come on.
Now, if Evan was an owner, we would never get anyone on that kind of money.
Yes, we would. We would get a lot of quality players.
For just under $11.
Correct. For what they deserve.
Under market value, but
under market value. Could have a redemption tour here.
And then my last thing before a quick listener question was just, the emotions of happiness I felt last night when I saw the CJ GJ news it was awesome. He's for sure my favorite player on the Detroit Lions.
It was exciting.
I think he's what our culture needs. He's a little bit of a loose cannon, but I think with Aaron Glenn and like
we need some chippiness.
We have edge now. I mean, this guy has. You can go on YouTube, and I did. I watched it. It was 5 minutes long of just like CJ GJ chippy moments. I mean, he's the guy that Bears player went up and just punched in the face because he tormented him all game long. This guy's an absolute menace on a football field and runs his mouth to an extreme. And it was telling to see AJ Brown and Darius Slay both tweet out like how much they're going to miss him. So I think this guy's the real deal, and I'm very excited. And he led the league in interceptions last year. Banana lands, and he's only 25.
One of the worst made mistakes in a playoff game ever, though.
What?
Oh, you don't remember the miracle in Minnesota?
That was not CJ GJ.
Oh, it was.
No, it was not. How much you want to bet?
It was him.
No, it was not.
It was him.
This is Evan. Get ready because we're about to see an embarrassed Alex because he hates being
I would
wrong.
expect you to be right because
It's Marcus Williams.
that's
on the last play of the game,
Number
Vikings
41.
quarterback Case Keenum threw a 27-yard pass to wide receiver Stephon
You
Diggs.
thought that
Safety
was-
Marcus Williams missed a tackle.
I remember it was a rookie, and I was just trying to line
You
it up
thought that
with
was-
when he was
I
a
don't
rookie.
even think CJ GJ was in the league at that point.
He was close. That was
You
not
thought that was
long
him.
ago.
That's tough for Alex.
It was like
to
a
just get
rookie
absolutely
secondary guy.
dunked on.
I didn't get dunked
Just
on. It's
quit
not a big
talking.
deal.
Dunk. Just quit dunking.
You guys root for Jeff Okuda, and he's the worst player on the team and about to get cut.
Now you're deflecting. That's how we know we got him
Deflecting,
out.
dragging us
I
into your
said you got
problems.
me.
Dragging us into your
I
problems.
already said you got me. There's nothing I can do other than say that you guys
All
root
right.
for Jeff Okuda.
Gotcha, bitch.
This is this is our last Lions thing before basketball. We're gonna try out the voicemail part of the question. So listen up, boys. Let's see if this works. Hit play now.
Hey guys, so the Lions question for you. Has your opinion of Jamal Williams changed after his comments over the weekend? And are you happier with the Montgomery signing because of this? Thank you. This is Ben. Bye.
Nice.
We talked about Montgomery.
Yes, I'm
I
happy
don't-
with Montgomery, but not because of what Jamal said.
I like Jamal less after what he said. I can tell you that. Like just straight up. I just wish you just.
I now
go out.
think Jamal's got some weird, I don't know, main character syndrome thing going on. I don't know what. I didn't understand why he needed to make those comments. He wanted to make it the moment about himself or
I
whatever.
just thought about this. He's living in New Orleans now. I hope he doesn't put some sort of like voodoo curse on us with his anime dolls. Like that'd be bad. The Jamal Williams curse. That'd be bad.
It
I
was
think
weird
it was-
behavior.
It didn't change my opinion on Jamal Williams. I think it's a lot
I
of
still think he's a
coaches
good guy and
speak.
did a lot for us.
I think it's a lot of coaches speak. You know, what else are you going to talk about? And you just signed with a team. You haven't played yet with them. Like, what else are you going to talk about?
I don't know, the
Talk
winning culture and whatever.
Not the Saints have a better winning culture than the Lions do.
Not at the moment.
No, they
Not
do
right
have a
now.
Super Bowl.
Because we took two of them.
They have a Super Bowl.
We took
Um,
Dan and Aaron. They're from
yeah.
there.
And I'm sure he was a little pissed off about whatever happened behind the scenes that we'll never probably know about. So, it's an NFL player. You're dealing with a human being with their emotions. Doesn't change my opinion on him.
It's a business. I've moved on.
Yeah.
I want to
All
win
right.
football games.
As Alex has said multiple times throughout the football thing, it's March. It's time for March Madness. Let's dive into. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. It was one of the best weekends I've ever watched of March Madness. It really was. There was so much that happened.
It was pretty good. I mean, especially that NIT game in Tennessee on Saturday.
Why do you have to come out and be a loser like that? That's a loser thing to say. We're talking about the tournament that matters.
You said something dumb today that I didn't like.
What did I say today that was dumb?
That you
Let's get
rooted,
into that.
you rooted for Duke last year because Michigan State did not deserve to win. And I thought that was a very dumb comment based on Michigan's deserved Sweet 16 last year. But that is not for this podcast. That is a different conversation.
I'm sure the listeners would love an argument. I was saying I just wasn't rooting for Michigan State because one, it factors when Michigan's in the tournament. It's always fun to see your team go farther. Not that it really matters, but it would have been more devastating. Like this year's different because I'm in on Michigan State because I realized the run is happening in front of my eyes. Last year, I didn't think the team was good enough to do that. So I was
That's
like,
what you said.
yeah, I mean, Yes, I stand by that. And you guys,
But Michigan did.
you had more players on the team that I liked just as human beings less, and I don't have any really beef with anyone on this team. I actually like several players on this team. One of my favorite players of all time is on this team. So it's different. Matty Sissoko.
That kind of. Do you want me to ask my question now because it's about him?
Yeah.
If you could redo the season and swap Dick and Sissoko for Michigan, would you do it?
Oh, 100%. I love Sissoko, but that's not even like, it's hard to take seriously like when it comes to
I'm
knowing
being
ball.
dead serious.
I just love Sissoko, and the kid never stops trying. I love him.
Now, Evan, would you swap Dick onto Michigan State and Sissoko onto Michigan? See, that's a tough question on the other side because, Dick has skill.
I don't know how
He has offensive skill.
Evan,
He has
you go.
no defensive skill.
Sissoko has no offensive skill.
Do I get the same baggage that it brings?
Oh, you get it
Yeah,
all.
you get Marty Mush podcast.
No, I hate Marty Mush. Marty Mush was my number one person I hated in Barstool. First time I saw him.
And Dubes,
And Rico
which is
Bosco.
arguably worse.
Well, Rico was up there. Marty was the first time I ever heard him talk.
So
He's a Duke Yankees fan.
this
Didn't go
podcast
to
would rather
school.
start their basketball team at center with Sissoko over Dickinson.
well, Sissoko was a higher
Yes.
rated recruit anyways.
And you can tell me I don't know ball, but I don't care because you don't really know no ball.
I would take
you don't
Sissoko
know
over
no
Dickinson
ball.
as well. So
It's
this
just
is a Sissoko podcast.
like the thing is like the better player is Hunter Dickinson.
Yes.
That's not up for debate. It's just I don't know how this is a revelation I had for the larger takes before we dive into the nitty gritty
It's the culture.
MSU.
It's the it factor. There's an it factor.
It's where it's not I don't have a preference on style of basketball. I do think watching guards fly around is more pleasing to the eye. But if you came away from this weekend and you didn't think to yourself, man, big men in college basketball are just worthless. Like if you run through them, it's just not the trend right now. It's like when skinny jeans were in or whatever, when fashion trends. Like right now in NBA and in college basketball, if you run everything to a center, unless you're like Connecticut where they have a bunch of great guards around said center, it doesn't work. The reason it worked for Michigan in Hunter's freshman year is because, yes, he was a staple of the offense, but they had like multiple NBA players around him. But if you're like in Indiana or, God forbid, North Carolina didn't even make the tournament, and Edie, you're cooked. You're cooked. It doesn't work.
Edie, Kofi, TJD, Luka Garza, all their seasons resulted in one Sweet 16.
It's a great stat, Alex. That's a fantastic stat to illustrate this point. It does not work unless you have like several really good guards around them, and then they take over the end of games. Because we saw with FDU how easy it is to eliminate. I mean, he still got his counting stats, but anyone who watched the game realizes the entire flow of Purdue's offense was absolutely screwed with how they just had three people on Zach Edey and swarmed him like a bunch of flies.
And
It
the
just
rest of the
does
team's
not
afraid
work.
to shoot the basketball because they're so used to Edie shooting every time.
If you have snipers, if you have like three like Sean McDermott's, three Matt McQuaid's, you can be okay. But most teams do not.
Dermott is the guy you just used.
Yeah, NBA
Butler
player for
prime.
Memphis Grizzly. Yes, really good shooter.
No one's going to know who that is.
I wanted to say
Buffalo
Doug.
Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
I wanted to say Doug McDermott, but he's a different type of player than
Oh.
Sean. Like he's
Well,
way
he
too.
was an
Still
All-American.
haven't watched those. I'll watch those highlights before bed tonight.
Alex, come on.
Oh, also,
Forgot.
when I went and watched, I think I was kind of like they were both great players. I was kind of getting him and Jimmer confused because I talked about them losing to Florida, and that was Jimmer who lost to Florida.
Gus Johnson was on that call.
Jimmer's stats and tape are even better than Doug's because Jimmer was shooting from
but
legitimately half court.
Don't get in this argument with Evan. That is his favorite player.
Doug McDermott was the greatest college basketball player of our generation. So
Um,
there's no argument, Alex. There's no. I mean, I won. I just said the argument.
I'm not
so we
arguing.
talked about we got into Maddie.
I haven't
Maddie had a
watched
great
it.
game. I'm so proud of the kid.
Maddie.
Chief had the tweet. We're tight like that. He said I can call him Maddie.
We need to give him a nickname.
I'm Dedisoko.
No, that's terrible. Just like your
his
alley
nickname,
coop.
'cause he's
Worst tweet I've ever seen in my life.
no, that was hilarious.
Grant, you got a multiple giggles in East Lansing for that tweet.
I mean, I thought like I was not original because I thought that thought went through every single person's brain who saw it. Like, oh, the alley coop, like it's just hilarious.
Anyways,
Sissoko legacy stretch. I mean, that game, he's a dog.
he's got a big
Honestly,
heart, as Tom said.
It was kind of a joke, the picture, but just as important, if not better, block than LeBron James in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I just have no comment for that. It's absurd, but
and honestly, the only
if
thing
that was
for
for the
missing,
national championship, then yes.
I need you guys to go back also when you do your Doug and go back and look at Tyson's steal and dunk.
I watched it like 20 times.
I wanted him to throw that off the backboard to Maddie so
Was
bad.
he trailing?
Yes, and I was just like, oh my God, I would lose my mind if he threw it off the backboard to a trailing Sissoko. That's the only thing that was missing from the...
He would have dropped it.
Probably true, but mean.
No, we love him. He's important.
We love him. Question for you guys. What were your guys' reactions while watching the game? Probably just Marquette, really. I mean, USC was a game, but you really want to focus on the Marquette game, I would say. What was it? Nerves?
Sweaty.
Was it like, we can do this?
Sweaty. Felt like I played a basketball game. Do you
I
forget?
kind of forgot how nervous you get during, like, as the games get longer in the season. It's like I was about to play. It's how much invested in, and I swear the stress level it brings, I probably lost a couple years off my life.
It's just important. I found myself just constantly reminding myself, one basket in the game of 40 minutes is not the end of the world. You just have to keep telling yourself that, because there's been plenty of times in the past
can't
where
stay still. I get emotionally high, I get
out.
emotionally low.
It's very,
devastated
very hard
way
to
too
stay
much.
calm.
Oh my God.
That's a famous John Calipari quote where he was like telling his teams that a basket is not like a touchdown in football. Like, you don't have to freak out about one basket. There's going to be hundreds of them in
Like
the game.
AJ turning the ball over the very first possession.
Holy cow, what a way to
Deep
start.
breath. Deep breath.
How good does it feel to be back in the Sweet 16 after a brief hiatus?
20-year hiatus based on the Michigan Twitter. It's been a long time.
Don't lump me in with them. I said brief.
I said Michigan Twitter. I didn't say anything about you. You're not Michigan Twitter. Are you? Do you have a brand?
This has been annoying me all weekend. I get it's the rivalry. I get it's the fan base. But as I get older, I think
just
it's
chirping it, Grant. Just relax.
I think it's crazy though when your team does something well that a lot of times people's first thought is to the other school. Like, why do you remotely care what Michigan Twitter is talking about right now when you're in the Sweet 16 and they're not?
I don't.
Well,
I was just chirping based on what I see on our Twitter.
They're on his mind.
It's a joke, Grant, to see if you will get upset, and you are. Because you've been doing a lot of reverse jinxing against us. And although it hasn't failed you yet.
You're I can't believe you still believe that at this point.
I'm not the only person that believes that. There's another person on the podcast that believes it as well.
I promise you guys, I understand it's probably because it's your team.
You did it, though, earlier in the season on purpose as a joke. You did it to me during the Iowa game as a joke.
Again,
and now you're playing this bit again.
That was an all-time collapse that will never happen again. That was not like I was trying to do it. You guys were dominating the game. And in this game, I know you guys aren't going to want to hear it and be like, oh, you're lying. From an outside perspective, there was not a single second I thought Michigan State was losing this basketball game.
The first 20 minutes of the second half, I thought it was...
Honestly, I did feel pretty confident most of the game.
The moment where it clicked, like for sure, again, the start was incredible. I was like, Marquette is just, again, I hate when people play the game where like Marquette's bad. That's why. Marquette obviously is like a solid team. They're a solid team, but they did not remotely impress me watching them. I did not look at them and be like, wow, this team has a lot of problems on the team. Again, their guy was going through whatever injury he was going through. I assume he's a good player. You don't win Big East Player of the Year and not be good, but he played an absolute stinker of the game. He had like more turnovers than points, like late in the second half.
7.6 turnovers.
It was when we got through the first stretch of the second half where it was a barrage of open threes, Marquette, and they missed a bunch and made a bunch, and they were only up one.
The most they got up was one, I think.
I was like, that's it. This game's over because Michigan State, how basketball works, is going to come back. And like when they made their run at the end of the half, I wasn't worried at all. I don't know if like people thought, like unless you're a Michigan State fan, you thought you were going to win by 25. They were always going to come back in that game. That's just how basketball works.
I sent that text.
Game runs.
You know that's going to happen, especially in March.
People stress out, oh, sky's falling. It's tight at halftime. Yeah, no shit. Unless you're going to win by 40, they're going to come back at some point. It's going to be tight. But once they made Marquette's punch and they were only up 1. I was like, oh, they're screwed. They don't have another punch like that in them. It's not like you're going to let up like 35 more open threes. That was just a wild stretch of play, and you survived without. If you guys were down like 9, then it's like, oh, you got to claw back. But you're only down 1. It was like, it's done. Shaka Smart. He's on his knees.
As you do kind of say, yeah, Marquette wasn't crazy impressive. The Big East put 3 teams through to the Sweet 16, right? Creighton, UConn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Xavier.
Those teams are all better than Marquette.
Marquette is 15-1 since January.
It's crazy. I don't know. I would have to.
They just ran the Big East regular season, ran the Big East conference tournament. They're 15-1. That was their second lowest scoring game of the season.
It's crazy.
They made 9-2. Marquette made 9 twos.
I watched when watching them. I didn't see
turnovers.
Oh, the only guy that was good, I thought, was I think number 12, Olivier Prosper or something.
Prosper played really well.
He had a game of his life. He had 16.
He had like 2 threes,
multiple
3 threes maybe.
He made 3.
That was a kid I watched, and Jones, the kid, that kid could get a bucket if he needed to
at any time.
But like outside of that, I was like, Kolek. I'm assuming it was like the worst game of his life. I looked at it, I was like, I cannot believe that kid won Big East Player of the Year. How is this team? He looked like nothing out there.
That team reminded me of like 7 years ago. Like if you put that team in a Virginia jersey, it felt the same.
Yeah.
I sort of said at the beginning of the game. I literally said at the beginning of the game when we were up 9-2 or whatever it was in the first time out. I said, if you just took off Marquette because we know nothing really basically about them, and you changed Marquette's name to Virginia, I think the confidence level of 98% of Michigan State fans would be totally different.
Increased.
It's just because we didn't know what to expect.
I mean, you just look at it, Ken Pom, top 5 offense. You're like, this team's just going to light it up, and then they scored 60.
There's a lot of frustrations I had. I mean, I could nitpick this and be like, dude, there's no way we win another game. Because I think of the negative first, just like how good Kansas State is. And then people kept on telling me, Evan, no, Michigan State is actually good. Like Michigan State has a quality team. Like more teams are more scared of us and our shooting than we are scared of other teams shooting.
Had a lot of close losses this year.
Like
we're battle tested.
We shot 82% from the free throw line. Now, every single miss felt like we missed double that. Felt like we missed like 8 free throws. We only missed 4. Marquette shot 9 for 14. They made 11 threes. Marquette made 11 threes in a game, and we won the game by 9.
And we made 2.
We made 2, and one of them was Hogard in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Oh, that's also a moment when I thought it was over when he did a dribble step back 3 at the end of the shot clock. Hogard,
if he didn't get a foul trouble,
that type of day.
If he didn't get into foul trouble in the first half, he would have had probably 6 more points.
Everyone should sing the praises of Tyson Walker, Joey Hauser. They're incredibly important. You take AJ Hogard off the floor for this team, and it's a completely different basketball team. It proves it every single game.
Completely, yes. You need
every single game. He goes off the floor, and they don't score for 4 minutes.
In certain stretches,
sure, he's going to make mistakes.
My side point to that, though, is when it gets to crunch time, and I know he did make a bucket driving to the lane that was a gift of a bounce from the gods, but when you get late game tight, it should not touch his hands, and it should just be Tyson ISO or a screen if he wants it.
Incorrect.
Which is, no.
He's closed games out all year. He also had the drive and kick to Joey Hauser for the 3. Without AJ Hogard, you take him off the floor at the end of the game situations, and it's a huge problem. I know it. You can watch it. Go back and watch it. You hate him. You're never gonna notice it. He's the most important player on the floor.
When it was time to get buckets,
he got one.
He got one.
Tyson Walker.
I'm just saying, if
USC
Tyson Walker had 3 in a row.
USC goes on a huge run. End of the second half, AJ scores 6 points in a row. All ISO.
End of the first half.
No, it's important for him to have it in stretches. I agree in like the flow of the game. He is important to be in there.
He can ISO with. It's just a different style of ISO.
When it's like crunch time, end of the game, there's one man on your team that should have the ball in his hands, and that's why you guys are as dangerous as you are.
It is not surprising to watch you pretend that AJ did not have any impact on closing the game, and you said his fluke gift of a god bounce, but he's done that this year several times. It wasn't like there's a difference when you watch Tyson go to work on someone and AJ go to work on someone. Tyson's more skilled and will hit a jumper, and AJ will just run with his mass at you at the lane. But
yeah,
it's the same result.
there's a closer on this team, and your fan base all agrees with it. Maybe you don't, but his name's Tyson Walker. Is the closer of Michigan State.
He's the go-to closer. We have 2 closers. That's a simple fact. It's a simple fact.
No, if you took Tyson Walker off this team in the last 5 minutes of that game, you do not win.
That game, maybe
that's
specifically,
a simple fact.
yes. The
Which
Michigan
is what
game
matters.
at home, they don't win that game if A.J. Hogarth's not playing and closing the game down the stretch.
That team that you beat at home is horrendous, so that is irrelevant to going farther March.
A.J. Hogarth is also a closer in his own right, and you know it. And whether it's him scoring or dishing it out for a open look, Tyson's not going to pass the ball and make that pass.
Perfect. And can I word the poll like this? In the last 5 minutes of the game, you have to sit one. Who do you pick?
Everyone's going to pick Tyson. Everyone's going to.
Correct. Because they know ball.
Because there's a lot of AJ haters. A lot of them.
No, I'm not even hating on him. I just said he's very important. It's clear. Like, people were complaining about the refs in that stretch to let them back in it, and they did miss calls, but it was more because AJ was out is why Marquette came back in the end of the first half.
I'm not saying Tyson's not a closer. I do think he's the one scorer. Like, if we need a bucket at the end, I would go to him first. I'm just saying AJ has just as much potential to get it done, and I would trust him to do it as well.
Okay. Well,
and then after AJ, I wouldn't go to anyone else.
But I would let Joey go to work in the mid-range.
I've seen that fail too many times. It's worked, but I wouldn't trust it at the end. You'd put Joey number 2 as a closer on this team?
If I needed a shot, like, I would rather have a Joey 3 than an AJ drive. Or AJ
a Joey 3 where he's like pulling up and off the dribble, because it's not just like a catch and shoot.
Coming off a screen like his USC one early in the game. Like, I'd rather have that.
I'm talking there's no action, granted. This is an ISO situation.
That's not how Joey Hauser plays.
Correct. That's why he's not a closer or anything.
I'd rather have Joey Hauser take a dribble off the 3 than AJ Hogarth take a dribble off the 3.
You're just changing the goalpost every time I ask a question. I'm talking ISO, end of the shot clock, 6 seconds.
Yes, Joey Hauser.
Tyson Walker 1.
Dribbling.
AJ Hogarth 2. You have 6 seconds and you're isolated.
Player though.
Why can't you just be like, yes, AJ is the second best closer on this basketball team?
I would say Joey Hauser, how he's shooting. I would take that shot.
Evan, thoughts? As a huge Joey supporter,
Hogarth is your Okuda, and that's fine. You just have to admit your bias.
Don't compare him to Jeff Okuda. Do not, because Jeff Okuda does not have the impact on the Lions that AJ Hogarth has on a basketball team that's playing in Sweet 16 on Thursday.
He did against the Vikings at Minnesota.
Grant, you're letting your bias get to you right now.
I'm just saying he's my guy, so it's hard to take anything you say without that lens on it.
I know when he plays bad, he's not perfect by any means. He makes a lot of mistakes. I'm just telling you. My
only thing is it's just crazy to say he has the same ceiling of potential as Tyson Walker closing out a game when Tyson Walker has done it at an elite level over and over again.
I said I would go to Tyson first, and I'd go to AJ second on this basketball team.
That's perfect. Let's hear Evan's thoughts.
I don't think
it's a different style of closing.
That's what I said.
Yeah, one's a passer and one's a scorer. It's fine. You need both.
Yeah, I don't know what we're arguing. I know what we are arguing.
Grant just doesn't think AJ can close out a game. He doesn't think he has the ability to do it.
Yeah, I would love for you to play the next 5 minutes against Kansas State without Tyson and see what happens.
AJ's done it, but he hasn't done it as the severe circumstances that Tyson has done it.
Correct.
And it's like the style is different. AJ's trying to get
flashier for Tyson to do it.
AJ's literally trying to get at the hoop, like point blank from the hoop.
Yeah.
He's basically trying to draw a foul, see what happens, can create down low. Tyson can create any shot that he is looking for. Mid-range, 3-point, or at the rim. So it's just... I trust both of them in their hands. They're both really good free throw shooters, so AJ's going to pass the ball more than Tyson will be. So, I mean, everyone's going to have a little bias towards who they like.
I'm not giving the ball to Joey Hauser with 6 seconds left in the shot clock.
I'm a Tyson supporter just because he can shoot from 3. But we haven't really seen anybody really like clamp down AJ's drives. Like, okay, this guy, like AJ just can't get by. We haven't seen that. In 2 years of basketball, we haven't seen it. AJ seems to, no matter what, at least get hip to hip or buy a guy for a decent shot late game.
At least present a rebounding opportunity at a minimum.
Yeah.
It's fine. I know what AJ matters. He's the most important player on the team, despite not being the best player.
This is the number one problem you want to have on your team because we have two guards that are leading us down the stretch in March. Two great, fantastic guards that can lead this team in multiple different areas. And then you have a three-point shooter that's shooting 45%. So,
and another one that's shooting like 42. He just been ice cold so far, 2 games in.
This may have answered the question with the healthy debate, but I was in my head wondering if I were a fan of this team, for you guys, is Tyson Walker climbing up your list of favorite players to wear the green and white?
Yeah.
I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of his game and his ability.
I mean, we were pounding the table last year for him to shoot more. So
it's taken a long time for him to get to the point where he's now doing what I've wanted him to do for 2 years, which is close games and know when to do it. That if he would have done that right from the beginning, which I don't expect anyone to do that, and if he was a 4-year player here, we had him those first 2 years, then he would probably be higher on the list. But I mean, I had one disappointing season and this year with him, so I mean, it's hard to put him that high, unless he takes us to like if we win the national championship, then he can book himself a spot in the top 5.
I mean, what about just a Final Four appearance?
No, I mean no. He won't be a top 5 favorite player for me.
I feel like where's Travis Trice ranked for you? Because I feel like he's on that if he makes the Final Four. Like it's like Travis Trice.
Travis Trice probably not in my top 5 either.
Travis Trice is in the top 5. I share a birthday with him.
Very nice.
There's a lot of good players. It's hard to pick.
I had a thought for you guys too, with some perspective, because you guys were saying to forget how intense they get, and like that feeling when you make the second weekend is so fun. There's a lot of discourse between, and this is where I'll acknowledge it, there's been a lot of discourse between the two rivals about what Sweet 16s mean. I think as a podcast, we all agree the goal is to hang a banner, and if you had a bunch of Sweet 16s with no banners, they feel empty. But can we admit in the moment as it happens, Sweet 16s feel pretty awesome when you make it. Like, it feels great.
Second week, Alex and I were talking about this. Give us a week of false hope or hope going into like the next round.
Give
of
us
games.
another week.
You want to be that team getting. Give us another week because like you survived and advanced. You saw how many teams get upset. You saw every single favorite lose. All the blue bloods are gone. Purdue, one of the favorites, lose early. You survived that.
It's a good accomplishment.
Top 16. Like the next week's cream of the crop usually rises. This following week's less teams lose.
Cinderella's
so you're not you're not really that shocked by the outcomes. It is really nice to get to the Sweet 16.
15
don't come
now
often.
in our
It
25
don't
years
come
of
often.
life.
What are those stats we posted about? Tom Izzo has more Sweet 16 appearances than
every team in the Big Ten except for 2.
And every single program besides 17.
Yeah.
Since 1975, he has more than every single program in the Big Ten except Indiana.
And I was laughing. I was giggling to myself, just laying in bed, reading all these stats, liking all these tweets,
That is the best part, just diving into all the fun stats
just
afterwards.
Like, you look back at it like middle of the season, we lose some stupid game that we shouldn't, and everybody's like, fire Izzo, fire Izzo, fire Izzo. It's like,
or Evan, when we lose to Iowa, saying, oh, now we're a 9 seed and we're going to lose to the 1 seed in the second round.
Well, we weren't a 9 seed, we were a 7 seed.
Overreaction, Evan. Take that for next year.
But I will never call for a Hall of Fame coach's head. A guy that should have a statue out in front of the stadium, like,
he's also more than a basketball coach to MSU. He's like the face of our university.
Yeah.
In times where we've had 36 presidents in the last 5 years. So he
means
a lot.
It's luck. I would say it's lucky that we had him.
We're grateful.
Yeah. To my thought, like on the Sweet 16 thing is like I said, if you had like 5 in a row and you weren't hanging any banners and you just got bounced in the second weekend, they'd start to get old, and like it's not something to brag about. But I have never understood the whole like, oh, Sweet 16s mean nothing. Like they absolutely do mean something. And it feels fantastic to win 2 games and go to the second weekend. And it feels better when you are an underdog seed, you know? Like
Feels
it's just
like
a little bit
bigger
different.
Accomplishment. Yeah.
If you're like a 1, it's almost a sigh of relief because you're like, I don't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like you just survive the weekend
You're a 1 or a
in
2.
a way.
You're like, well, you were expected to get there. When you're lower seed and you knock somebody off that's better than you seed wise, it feels nice. Feels a
I
little
will
bit better.
say of the 15 Sweet 16s, you don't down the line you don't remember them really. At least in the MSU's perspective. Like I remember like getting to a Sweet 16 and losing to Duke, and that's a bad memory. But when we've made
getting
the Sweet 16
and
as
losing
a
to UConn,
bad memory.
But
like when we've gotten to a Sweet 16 as the underdog, those have seemed to turn into Final Fours. So it's also a different perspective. Like if we lose, I'd probably be pretty happy with the accomplishment of this team, with all they went through.
That's fair. That kind of leads in to my next thought. The MSU prophecy, the narrative I'm pushing, that some people think is reverse jinx. I will stand on it that it's not. And I will say it's fair, the criticisms of the team that we've all talked about throughout the year. It just was more to Evan's point of when you see a draw. And I saw the draw and it came out. I didn't really think about how the Ohio State loss could affect anything. I just kind of threw that away. It was more that you believe that?
No, but somewhat. No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Anyways, you look at what guard play matters and how hot Tyson had been playing going into this, and you look at the teams around you. It's like 7 seed. Like I genuinely believe this team could do it because there wasn't anyone I saw in their way that was like, oh, that's a hard out, like a Houston, like I told you guys earlier, that led to the debate that now I'm the biggest Houston fan in the entire world for no reason. But as I look at it now, and we talk about uncomfortable expectations, the March Madness put out the retweet if your team is dancing in Sweet 16, and you have the 4 teams in each one, and I look at the East, and I do not see how Michigan State does not go to the Final Four out of this like group. And you guys are going to disagree with it. I get it because you've watched this team more and you're emotionally invested, but I would think it's a disappointment to not make the Final Four from this spot you're sitting in now, like looking at those 4 teams that are in this East region in Madison Square Garden. And I 100% believe that.
I think that you are slightly overlooking Kansas State. They're a 3 seed. They're by no means a joke. Yes, they're not name brand, and we are name brand.
Don't tell their coach that.
It's a first-year head coach. I get it. I get why you'd see that. FAU, yes, that's a joke. Tennessee doesn't have their point guard.
It's a joke.
They still play a top 5 defense in the country. But that's like Virginia, and we just talked about how that's not something that we're afraid of. Yes, on paper, we're the only team on the left side of the bracket that's been to a Final Four in the last 50 years.
That's insane.
We have the only coach in the entire field that's won a national championship remaining. Yes, there's expectations now.
Yeah. It's
You had first weekend was underdog. Now you're not in that spot anymore.
Underdog in some people's eyes. For me,
we're
the whole way
we're favored on
this
Thursday.
team should get in it. Team's favored on Thursday. Your team will be favored against Rick Barnes. It's Rick Barnes. It's like
they're our favorite right now, and I think we touched on like the Sweet 16, but like once you get to the second weekend, like the seedings don't really matter.
No, yeah, you throw it out.
People
unless
look at it
it's
like,
FAU and Princeton.
You're the first 8 or 9 seed, but it's really who's playing the best basketball right now.
Yep. And they are the 3 and the 4 seeds, but they're like...
I do worry this team seems to play better when they fly under the radar. When they get expectations, they seem to falter a little. I'm hoping that they don't pump their tires like they did before the Big Ten tournament, think how good they are, and then lay a deuce. But the positive news is they're playing defense, and that travels, as Evan said 100 times. Defense travels. Shooting might not.
We're athletic. Go ahead, Grant.
I just want to make sure that it's where both of you are like not in the we're playing with house money phase. Like this is...
We're not. We have expectations.
Yeah, you're not playing with house money.
There's more expectations from you than maybe us, but
that okay. Now
it'll be
this is a more bigger.
lose.
It's a bigger picture thing. I just don't like what you guys have talked about with your Hall of Fame coach in 25 straight years. I know the fan base, and I get it. Like wants to play the plucky underdog role, but I like nationally you're not. Like,
yes, I know that's out the window.
This is your This is your group to lose at this point. You're the driver's seat to make the Final Four.
I think the winner of Michigan State, Kansas State is in the Final Four.
In the Garden. Like, this is huge. This is big. And then
a game we've already gone to and
then you lose to Alabama, and it's like, well, they were amazing. So, fine. But you don't worry about that right now.
Let's just win the whole thing.
Well, I don't know about that. But win the East. The East is wide
open. Win the whole thing.
I won't go that far. I'm the prophecy for this team, but I'm not taking them past
I already played Alabama once.
I'm taking you to Alabama, and I'm dropping you off at the doorstep, and I'm going home.
No, Grant. I'm going to convince you when we get to that game.
If there's no chance you convince me to beat. If you guys beat Alabama,
we're winning.
I will be stunned, and I will just sing your praises for an hour on this show about how stunned I am this team won. I feel like I know what this team's capable of. This team should beat Kansas State. I actually think if you guys want to get crazy, I think you're going to whap Kansas State. I think this is going to be that weird Sweet 16 game where all your threes hit after not making them.
That was my first thought. I thought the same thing.
You're going to kill Kansas State by like 15.
Now
and
you're going to go into, but because it's a tournament that we just said how that doesn't happen.
Yes, it does. At least I'm speaking from Michigan's runs. Their Sweet 16 games.
We do not blow out teams in the tournament. LSU's last Sweet 16 we played.
Yeah,
we don't have Cassius Winston. We have someone better.
I'm telling you, this is the game where those threes that didn't hit against Marquette hit. You run this team out of the gym because they just can't shoot, and you strap a 5'7" point guard. Like, you cannot let that kid light you up, and then you play Rick Barnes, and you win that game like 49-47, and you go to the Final Four. Like, that is exactly how this happens.
That's happened. I can see it. We played Tennessee in an Elite Eight and won like 49-47.
I can see this so clearly. I hope Evan's seeing it too. It hurts
how clearly you see it, because if we see it the same way, it's just...
No, you guys should get cocky. I don't care. I won't hold it against you. You should... Sorry, go ahead.
Every time we get to the Sweet 16, I do think that we're going to make the Final Four. It's like almost an auto thought in my head. And when you think about it, it's 8 out of 15. So, I mean, that's over 50% of the time. That is true. But it's hard because this team was baffling at times. I don't know.
But now that doesn't matter. Now it's about right now.
You just don't want the real biggest reason I'm worried is because number 11, if he doesn't show up,
oh no,
the season ends. And that's just really where it's at. And sometimes his switch turns off, and if it's off, we're off and we lose.
Evan, what's cooking in that brain? What have you been marinating on the last day? Like, where are you at? Trust tree.
Trying to figure out how do we beat Kansas State? That's what I've been thinking about. Like, I just think about how good Kansas State is. That's why I sent you guys the tweet.
Evan, I got a thought for you.
Marquette was 15-1 in the last 16 games.
Kansas State lost to Butler, so they're a joke.
That's what, like... I talked myself into beating Marquette. We watched a couple hype videos, you know.
They lost to Wisconsin.
They lost to Wisconsin. I've watched that Wisconsin game, and then you lose to Butler. You look at who they lost to. We average, I just was looking at the stats. We give up 6 points less than them. We only score like 5 points less than them. The stats are pretty much similar. It's just they have a point guard that's playing well, and they have a Big 12 player of the year on their team. First team, Big 10, Big 12 player of the year.
12 Big East player of the year, Evan.
Well, Big East.
He ain't nothing.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrespect. I don't want to disrespect Kansas State because their coach seems like he's really petty and like likes to, chirp back at people in his press conference stuff. But I know exactly what this team is. They didn't beat a soul in the non-conference, and they just got boosted by the metrics thinking the Big 12 is by far the best conference in the country. And that's why they are at where they're at. They're not that good. And that's a simple fact of the matter.
I mean, who'd they beat on their way here? Kind of struggled a little bit with Montana State and then beat a not great Kentucky team that doesn't have their point guard that played against us. Evan, keep in mind.
Beating Kentucky's nothing. They play through Sheboy, which we already discussed. Big men do not work.
They don't have Severe Wheeler, who was like their point guard that could actually get the ball moving.
I mean, their lead guard is 5'7", and I know he's a bucket, and I know he's a New York guy, but like, even if Tyson struggles, you can put Jaden Akins on that kid and good night. Good luck scoring as Jaden Akins. You wouldn't be able to see over him.
Also, just one more clarifying thing. Somebody in the group chat said that Jaden Akins or someone locked down Boogie Ellis and Tyler Kolek. AJ was on Tyler Kolek quite a bit, so he deserves some defensive credit as well.
That's fine.
He's not a bad defender either.
Akins still a dog.
Yeah.
AJ did get absolutely dusted by Kolek, and Maddie bailed him out on the block of the game.
I did rewatch that before this. He didn't. I think he was trying not to get his fifth foul.
AJ won't be able to guard Noel because Noel's too fast. AJ can't stay in front of little quick guards. The FDU guards would kill. The FDU guards would kill anyone in the country, honestly.
Yeah, those kids are quick.
Evan's in. That's what I heard. Evan's in. You found a way to beat Kansas State.
Evan wasn't in on my
in their last true road games, and I think it will be a true road game. I think Michigan State travels way better than Kansas State. It's Madison Square Garden. Just played there. We've traveled. We know
We've been there this year.
I'm that weird psychopath that likes routine, and like Michigan State's done that same routine. You've already traveled to Madison Square Garden. You've already gone through everything. You've already shot in that gym. You have experience on the team, not so much in the postseason, but big time games against big time opponents. And I mean, looking at their schedule, Grant, you're right.
It's just Big 12 inflated metrics.
Cal,
everyone
terrible.
beats everyone in their
LSU,
conference.
Terrible. Butler, lost to, bad. Wichita State did not make the tournament. Nebraska, bad.
Insane.
And then they were 1-6 in their last road games going down the stretch.
Well, you talked yourself into it. Good job, Evan. Grant, my last thing I'd like to say to you is, in my life, I can only remember one loss ever in the Elite Eight. So if we're in that game, I will be penciling us to the Final Four.
That game will be tough. That will be a tough game. That'll be like when
we
Michigan
just always,
Florida State.
Always seem to win the Elite Eight game.
You got to beat You got to stop Noel. I gave you the stat for a reason. He's scored or assisted on 93 of his team's points in tournament. That's 24 more than anybody in the tournament. He's the key. Keontae Johnson is the most athletic one on their team, but you have to stop. You have to stop the point guard.
I think so. I looked at their stuff a little bit. I think Keontae you can neutralize, and like he's not going to go crazy. I don't think with your wings. Malik Hall should be guarding Keontae. Maybe Jane Akins has to.
Akins, I like Akins. I just like quicker guards. If they want to post up and do the back down, I think it only helps us in half court offense, half court defense, and rebounding. I think it helps us even better. So if they want to do
they're not deep either. If they get in foul trouble,
they're going to have
who's their starting
shot? They're going to have a good. They're going to have a good shot blocking presence. In let me get the name so fans can. Naquan Tomlin, 6'10". He's like their center. He had 4 blocks in one of their tournament games. He's more of a Bingham type big guy than he is like a. But
he's not going to dominate you on the block.
What's his name?
A bunch of points.
No. Which is what which again is what
defend.
What we don't.
He's not going to move his feet that well.
Right. Naquan Tomlin, like you don't want bigs that score in college basketball. That's what we've learned. That's what I'm running with that narrative till it's proven otherwise, and he's not that. So he'll be a good big for them.
Oh my gosh, he's going to ball out against us.
I think the guy
New York.
Evan, that doesn't matter. That is not something that matters.
Okay, so the Penn State game doesn't matter for AJ Hogarth's legacy.
No, for his legacy, Evan, I'm not going to talk about a game he played at Penn State. No.
Okay.
Here's the sneaky glue guy I would say that you have to hope doesn't spark for like 12 to 15 points, and it's their guard Desi Sills, the 6'1" guard. He wears the long sleeves on their team. He's a crafty guy that can get a bucket. If you can shut him down, then I think you're okay. Noel is going to make an impact on the game. That's a fact. He's going to have a game.
From New York, so half the roster's from New York, so we're screwed.
Yeah, no, Noel is like a dog. He played in Harlem Park growing up. But
Evan,
Tyson Walker's from New York, so
being
there you
from
go.
there is almost worse. You got family begging you for tickets, blah blah blah. You got to go see people. People are down.
Tyson
down
Walker's
your
from
throat.
New York.
That doesn't. It's
So
not. That's not a.
And the first 3 people that I clicked on their team are from New York.
New York's
Evan,
not
the
a small
best
state.
scorer
Evan. It's
on
not like they
the
live 20
floor
minutes
is
from
from
the
New
garden.
York. He plays from Michigan State, so you're good.
Yeah, this is not a factor, Evan.
The final score of this game is going to probably be 75-60 Michigan State.
That'd be fun. I'd enjoy it.
Roughly.
Be a good Friday at work.
A lot of threes. I think Joey's got at least 18 points in this game. He's going to hit probably at least 3 to 4 threes. Malik Hall, he's due for one. He missed about 5.
I couldn't tell you the last time we won a Thursday Sweet 16 game.
You and all this weird shit. Does not matter. None of that matters.
We always go to the Final Four on Sundays.
Does not matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm just telling you. It's
You guys
not a
don't have to
routine
give
I'm used to.
predictions if
I'm
you
not
don't.
ready for the Saturday Elite Eight game.
Any predictions for
Yeah, I think
this
Michigan
game?
State wins. And I think they do
Hell
shoot the
yeah.
ball well.
Yeah.
77.
You're seeing the vision, Alex.
Kansas State plays a
77,
different
63.
defense. Like Marquette was playing a different defense where they're pressing up the guards where you don't get as freely. Like
Yeah,
The
we're going to
drive's
run our
gonna be
offense
more
more
open.
free. Ball
the
movement's going to
drive's
be
more
free.
open. Yes, this is.
We're gonna get in rhythm and we're gonna start hitting shots.
Yeah.
I think we
77,
do. I
63.
think we match up all right with them. I think they're worried about us guarding us. I think they're. I need to start thinking in that mindset.
This
I'm
is
gonna
one of the
think
more
about that
athletic
mindset
teams
the
we've
whole-
had, Evan, in a long time.
Correct. I'm thinking of that mindset all week, is saying that they're just as scared to play us, and how are they going to guard us? So I
You
trust
seem
her.
to
Like,
forget that a lot.
there's 4 players that we start that I trust with the ball in their hands at all times. So
5 in Grant's head.
I do not trust the ball in his hands. I trust him out there playing hard.
Good way to put it.
There's something about Madison Square Garden and Michigan State now. Last time we played in Elite 8, Madison Square Garden, Alex, we lost.
UConn.
Yep.
Redemption.
So I do like our chances. And Grant, you were spitting facts at me about Kansas State and how overrated they are. So
So
I'm
overrated.
gonna keep in the same ballpark. I think it's gonna
Hop in
just
Grant's
be,
backpack, Evan.
I think it'd be 71-64 final Michigan State.
You hold 3 straight teams this
Grant, please carry me.
mid-60s
If
or
you want
less.
to carry me as far as you would like and drop me off, and I'll be happy with the outcome.
I'm
As long
dropping
as
you
drop
off
him off at
in
NRG.
Houston against Alabama.
Fine, I can take
Dropping
it from
you
there.
off there. You guys actually should start looking at hotels if you plan on going. I'm not joking.
I've glanced.
Alex sees the vision. He just won't say it, and he's playing. I just wish you would stop the whole reverse jinx card and just be like, "Yeah, Grant, you are right."
Listen,
It
dude,
is our
I am
year.
the most confident Michigan State fan of any of our friends.
I can't go.
You
I have
probably
been all
clicked-
year. I never shut the
That-
door on this team. I'm the only one.
That's not saying a lot.
I never shut the door on them.
Our friend ecosystem is a big like things are going
Big
poorly.
pool
Things
and
never
negative,
work
yes.
out.
But I never shut
I'm
the
a
door.
big.
I never
I'm
shut
a
it.
big
$66 right now.
I'm a big idiot where I always think my teams are going to win, and then I'm very disappointed. That's how I roll.
I'd rather have it that way.
It's fun. It's great.
That's how I do it.
Side note: the shot of Barry, Mark D'Antonio, and Kirk Gibson was awesome.
Yeah, Barry, Kirk, and the GOAT together. That's awesome.
Yeah, Kirk Gibson's mustache.
Don't forget
looked
about Graham
phenomenal.
Couch.
Didn't see him in that photo. He was not in the stands from what I saw.
No, he was just below them.
Really?
Alex
Nice
saw him
one.
like the shot before, like the pan of the fans, like right before that.
Bracket check. Mine's looking great. I feel great about mine.
I feel really good
at the
about mine.
bottom, but I have a lot left in me.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where you're at right now, Evan. If you got your Final Four intact, you're in great shape.
I do not have my complete Final Four intact.
Grant to you,
Yep. And I feel great about it.
as do I.
I should have all Elite 8 teams alive, but Memphis got hosed on a jump ball call and lost to FAU.
I think I have 6 of 8 Elite 8 and 4 of 4 Final
Oh
Four.
my god, I do not have.
Alex, ours is very, very simple. It's just going to come down to
Who wins the title?
your UCLA thing and
UCLA,
I got
UConn.
in the Final Four.
It's whoever it
And
is.
then
We both have Michigan
then-
State. We both have Alabama. I have Texas. I think you have Houston.
yeah, you did put Michigan State because you saw the
Need
vision
UCLA.
then when I
need
told
Texas. I need Texas.
Of course I
you. I
did.
know Houston, Texas is the biggest game of my life coming up here.
So
assuming
shout
Houston
out
takes care of
Michigan.
Miami.
Awesome.
Shout out
I
make
can't wait to
brackets.
watch that game.
Battle of Texas.
Make-
I also, word to the wise, they were dead for a second. Houston's back. Marcus Sasser is
One of the
know if
most
guys-
impressive second
did you-
halves
Grant, are you
that you
Frank
can
Lachey?
play.
No, I'm for the city. X
Go
go
Oh, I
Cougs.
see you
Cougs.
down there.
Because that's how if you
Grant
look at their
and I are
Twitter
tied.
account, that's how they sign
28th.
off every single tweet.
Well, Frank the Tank
And
is
the
in
same
second,
max.
and he's
But how many points does he have? 4 left.
Yeah, but he's
Evan?
got San Diego State left in the thing, and he's screwed. He's screwed because
It's all about the max points.
San Diego
If
State
Houston
could
wins the
win.
title, I win.
San Diego State could
That's
win.
as simple as that.
The title?
No, No.
He has San Diego State in the Final Four.
Final Four. Yeah, he's done. No offense.
Well, he picked 6 of the 8 Elite 8 right so far.
That doesn't.
I mean,
that definitely helps. But
of the champions that have Houston, I have the highest max left. So if Houston wins the title, I win the group. If UCLA wins the title, Alex wins the group.
this podcast cannot lose. We will make it happen.
Our official podcast back is out. We had a stinker in Duke.
Yeah, that was a miss.
This is also
I didn't even fill out my bracket remotely to what I said on the picks for that. I was not prepared for that moment.
well, thanks for being honest. This is listener of the show, Cody's. He wanted to say something about his bracket via voicemail, and so I'll play it as well.
This is a public service announcement. Cody is in first place of the bracketology for the Shot of Michigan Sports. I will be deleting my bracket before the next round of play because I am all in on Michigan State beating Kansas State, and the only way for me to win the bracket pool is for Kansas State to go on. Thank you.
Very honorable, Cody.
So the leader has bowed out. Breaking. He's done.
Leader's bowed out because he's rooting for his university to win it all.
That's a true fan. That's
an honorable fan right there.
Yeah, that's not why. It's because Kansas lost, and that was his natty game.
And I think the funniest part about it is Cody constantly telling me the last week how much better his bracket was than mine. And then his national champion plummeted, and now my Final Four's intact. Sorry, McBrackets.
McBrackets is a great name, though. To wrap up the show, I just want on record, I'm firmly in the camp that FDU over Purdue was the greatest tournament upset in the history of college basketball.
I haven't gotten around to the article on The Athletic that's going around about how improbable it was, but once I read it, I will probably be in the same boat. I mean, remarkable, really, in general.
The Virginia had
but they
DeAndre
looked like
Hunter
a
out.
good 16 based on seeing that.
Number 2
Like
for FDU
guard.
is the truth.
His move against Florida Atlantic was unbelievable. I don't want to use that word, but that was unbelievable.
It was. I said to myself, like, that was and one mixtape tour. What he just did in a
Ridiculous, and it was so smooth, so
good.
smooth.
They should have won that game. It sucks.
Dude, their coach is a freak.
It was so fun. That was one of the most fun I've ever had. Not having a dog in the fight, just watching them and being like, "This is happening."
You're lucky.
Early. Like,
you got a tournament when you weren't in it that turned out to be pretty sweet.
it was awesome. And I have Houston, and I was sweating out that game.
Unbelievable.
Sasser's a dog, dude. Sasser's a dog. And Jarris Walker, he's gonna be a great Piston. I'll take him any day.
He's a lotto pick.
Yep, top 5. If we fall, don't be mad. We got Jarris Walker.
Evan, would you trade Tyson Walker for Marcus Sasser right now? Final question of the day. For the rest of the run.
I have not
trade
watched enough
Hogard.
of Marcus Sasser. And I have a man crush on Tyson Walker right now, so
Did you go get his car for him?
I tried.
Would you take Foster over AJ for the rest of the run?
I mean, just led the country in free throw percentage, so I mean,
Evan.
no, Alex, it's a joke. Come on, I have his
wanted to make
jersey,
sure
though.
that you do have some sort of non-bias.
He could guard Noel. He'd match up height wise.
You'd get cooked. No offense, Foster. But
All right. On that note, cheers to episode 114 and to March continuing for Michigan State.
Cheers to the Cavalier
Cheers.
twins, upsetting number 1 Indiana, Alex.
Wow.
did they win?
Yes,
Really?
in Assembly Hall. They own that building now.
Wow. Good
Wild.
for your girl, Evan, your girlfriend.
This is March. They sleep in May.